I
There we go.
Hey-o!
All right, we are live. So it is the first week of January. This is episode number 45. Luke, we this was it's funny that we're at episode number 45, and I say 45-ish because you and I just decided to just do this. And
Right.
even though we're in the first week of the year of 2024, and I'm pretty sure that we started this not in 2023. I think we started this the end of 2022, right? So we didn't because we didn't do every Friday,
Right.
but we've done good.
That math is, I would assume that we would probably have been into 2022 because obviously we had some, off weeks or whatever, but yeah, that maths.
And the reason why I want to bring that up is because you and I often talk. Well, prior to doing this, you and I have talked about, look, we should have done this conversation as a podcast and allow people to listen in because we're always doing a jam
Right.
session going back and forth on how to generate more leads, how to convert more leads. We're always talking about technology. So that really led to our podcast. And it went from you and I, our very first one, where we were, God, it was like an hour and a half. And we're like, man, that was too long. And now we've kind of condensed it, but we've always talked about just taking action. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that you have to do is just take action. We've figured out a lot of things as we go. Now that I actually think that we're probably more than 45 in, but that's just the ones that I've had gone live. And now we kind
Right.
of have a system. But I think that's pretty good. I mean, there's only 52 weeks in a year, so
Yeah.
we've been 90% effective and consistent on this. So
That's
congratulations,
awesome.
way to go.
You too, man.
A lot of things have changed.
Pat ourselves on the back. That's
Yeah. So one of those things is that we talked about was let's make sure that we're identifying what it is that we're going to talk about. It
Mhm.
used to be that we were just you know jam session and we talk about whatever it is that we talk about, but now we're going to be more focused on artificial intelligence, how it's being used, how you can use it, how you can use it now, what are the tools available, really catered towards well, it could really work for any person in a professional field, but
Yeah.
our space is more of the real estate mortgage space. So without further ado, I mean, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the top things that real estate agents and mortgages can do, or not top things, but top tools
Yeah.
that that can be used now that will increase efficiencies and increase production, ultimately increase income that you can use with AI. Uh, Gary V, I just saw a meme, a short for Gary V, and what he had said. For those of you who don't know who Gary V is, Gary Vaynerchuk. What he had said, and it looked like he was on stage, is that if you're not using AI, everyone needs to use AI, because if
Mhm.
you're not using AI, if you don't know how to use AI, you're really going to be positioning yourself for getting behind the eight ball. Everybody has
Right.
a fair playing field right now. Nobody's behind the eight ball on this. Sure, there's people like you that are that early adopters that are really kind of trudging the way. But from the
Right.
end user, the end consumer, the salesperson, they're not behind the eight ball, but they'll get behind the eight ball. And I think they're going to get behind the eight ball fast if they don't start engaging with it. Would you think that that's what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It is, and tracking back and like the number of episodes and stuff, it totally makes sense of like where we're at because I think what really kind of like sparked all this stuff up was when OpenAI came out, November 30th, 2022 was when they released ChatGPT to the public. So in the grand scheme of things, it's very like from a a simple user interface. It's very new, and people are not still have an opportunity to plug in, learn, get engaged, and be able to use it effectively. At a bare minimum, have like a general understanding of everything. And I've heard a lot of people say it's like AI is not going to replace you, but somebody who knows how to use it will. And
There's a
that
whole
is
lot of truth to, I think, what you had just said there. Um, I use it extensively. You know,
right.
not to do things, but to generate content. To it just helps you. It's like
Hmm.
it just makes you more efficient and it allows you to use time better.
Absolutely. Helps flush out your thoughts, creativity. Um, I mean, there's so much that it can be used for, but I think to your point of like, you know, just get making it a part of your day to day or semi day to day processes and routines is good. And it's like almost, especially for some of those people who might be a little bit resistant to it, like forcing yourself to plug in and use it and kind of just have a good understanding of where you might want to use it. And sometimes it could be just as simple as like sending some emails, like, just, hey, can you help me like rewrite this email to my boss or a coworker or something like that to, make it a little bit more friendly. Maybe you might be having a bad day and you're like, hey, make me not sound like an ass type of a thing.
Yeah, and what I'm finding is that the people who are trying to capitalize on it and use it, what they're using it for is they're actually promoting the download your free prompts. And I think a lot of people don't know what prompts are, that you're being very specific on the instruction that you want to AI to help you. For your example, when we start
Mhm.
talking about emails, it's like, I need you to review this email and draft a professional, inspirational response to, and then designate who that avatar is to, a professional in their X amount of age or generation or whatnot. So you got to be very, very specific on what it is, and it'll punch out. It'll ghostwrite something for you pretty accurately.
Right. Absolutely.
So what do
Um,
you think? What do you think are the um, Chat GPT is the one that started all of this. What's interesting with this is it's like when you're sitting in an auditorium and it's ended, everybody waits for that first person to get up and leave. And Chat GPT, even though I don't think they were the first one to AI, because AI has been used, Google's been using it in search for several years, Microsoft has been using it. But what's interesting, it took Chat GPT to come to market with a
right.
consumer tool. So that's one I think that I know that you use it, I use it, but what are some others? What are the other top AI tools that you think would be useful for agents
Uh,
and mortgage people?
I think one of the most useful tools is actually still within ChatGPT, and I think one of the biggest uh, reasons why it caught on and was so impactful was because of the simplicity of it. I mean, the chat interface itself, which is like accustomed to like sending a text message to a friend, which we're all like extremely familiar with, is one of the reasons why it was so like it caught on so much. Um, and probably what I would say for most anybody is like starting there, but within ChatGPT, they have recently rolled out the capacity to make your own GPTs, which it's essentially you're custom training um your own prompts, so to speak, where you have this thing that you can go back to. This could be your assistant or whatever it may be, where you're training it and custom training it. That would be something like if you're brand new, something that you could just start to dig into a little bit more and familiarize yourself. And this is really helpful when it gets to like repetitive things that you do on a regular basis. Maybe in this regards, like it's a real estate agent, and you're like, hey, I hate writing descriptions for properties. Just grab You can upload images, you can upload links, you can say, hey, write me, a listing description for this property, and like, a half a dozen marketing pieces that are going to go along with it. Um, so this is, um, just within that itself. There's just so much more that can be, opened up right there.
Now, you and I were actually talking last week. So you have Chat GPT,
Hmm.
you have Bard, which is for Google. Don't even know
Right.
where they came up with that name. Do you recall what the name is from Microsoft's?
um, they have, oh man, gosh, why is that slipping
Yeah,
me
I'm
right
going to
now?
Google it.
I think they just kind of incorporated it into Bing.
Yeah, it is. You're right. They just incorporated it into their Bing search engine. But those are kind of the three main players. I know that Elon Musk is coming out with said that he's coming out with one, so I'm sure that will come to fruition sooner or later,
So that
or
one
at
is
least to the
Gronk.
public. What'd you say?
Uh, Elon's is Gronk,
Gronk.
and I believe it is actually like a beta out right now.
Oh, is it?
Microsoft's, I think his is internally in Twitter. So, or X, like you need to like be in there, like with the premium one, you get access to it. So if you have, like, uh, Twitter Blue or whatever it is, the verified account, you get it. Um,
So do you have
and
Twitter Blue?
I don't, but I certainly feel compelled to.
Me too. I've been compelled for a
Out of
while.
principle. I'm like, you know what? I gotta throw him a bone just for fighting a free speech fight.
So, but here's the thing that you said to me last week, and it was what you use Chat GPT for, and what you use um, Bard for. And what you said made a whole lot of sense to me, but I want you to talk about a little bit more about the difference of Chat GPT 4 versus Bard, because the free version of Chat GPT is 3.5. The,
Right.
the, the paid version, which I believe is $20 a month, is Chat GPT 4, and that comes with the image generator of Dolly. But what you had said to me is that Bard, the main difference between that is that it has real time data from the internet. Did I understand that correctly?
So yeah, one of the reasons, or the in that example that I was talking about, was using Bard because I mean it's built on Google. It has access to everything that Google has right there. And the example of the suggestion that I was making was for a real estate agent to create like a weekly newsletter. And it's just a very, very practical way of providing value to their database, and prospects on their list, is like creating a list of things that somebody can do in the area that week or that weekend. So Bard, being able to curate, say, hey, write me, a list of 10 family friendly things that people can do in this area for the week of January 1st, 20, or, for the first week of January, 2024 type of deal. And, it will put together a list of, really, good stuff, whatever that may be for your area. Um, and it was just a way of just putting together something that would be valuable, relevant, and because it's Google has access to everything right there.
Let's try it. And I thought that my picture would appear on here,
You
but this
got
was
Bard
this
up
was
right now, and
this was kind of
glad.
impromptu. Okay, so what should I? I'm not going to worry about my picture not showing up.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say the prompt is? So I'm in Irvine, California. What do I put in here?
So what I would do, I would just like maybe click on your microphone and just talk like plain English. They're getting really good at like making
Oh,
prompts like
okay.
user
What do
friendly.
you want me to say? I'll do that, and then. But what do you want me to say?
Just do it. Just say it like what you think. I mean, you're like
Okay.
a regular agent, just shooting from the hip.
Let me allow the microphone. I'm a real estate agent specializing in selling real estate in Irvine, California. I need to create a newsletter that talks about the top things to do this upcoming weekend in Irvine, California. Please create a 1,000 word newsletter. Okay, and then press submit. Let's see what that does.
I think it might have
Oh, I
not
didn't.
gotten
I
everything
didn't let it do it. Right. Okay, so let's do that again.
there.
I'm a real estate agent who specializes in selling property in Irvine, California. Oh, it's only I gotta. It doesn't do that fast. Okay, I can't pause. I'm a real estate agent who lives in specializes. What the? Okay, that's not working, Luke.
Okay, type it out. You're good at typing. I'll talk what you
In
type. So,
Irvine,
you know,
California. Okay.
I want to put together a newsletter for my local market of family friendly activities and events in the area, free and paid, something along those lines.
Okay, let's try that. I'm a real estate agent in Irvine, California. Please create a 1,000 word newsletter for my local market for family friendly activities and events in the area, both free and paid. So, holy cow. Are you kidding me? Welcome to the Irvine Family Fun newsletter, free fun for the fam, story time and adventures. And it gives the links out to them. Cultural Corner, Splish Splash. Uh, you know what's interesting with this, Luke? And you'll probably relate because you used to live here. I've done all of these.
Right?
The parks, go there all the time. Persian Story Time, nope, that's a new one. Cultural Corner, Festival of Lanterns, Global Village Festival, Turtle Rock Music Series, didn't know about that. Splish Splash, knew about that. Movie Nights Under the Stars, uh, got to find those. Pretend City, been there. K1, seen it, haven't been there. Tanaka Farms, been there every year. Boomers, been there. Irvine Spectrum, go there often. So this is pretty great. This is a great thing. And what we just did, let me get out of the screens here. What we just did is we just saved somebody could be me. We just saved somebody at least an hour, at least an hour, just putting
I mean,
together that draft.
that was really nice formatting and everything right out of the gate.
That's pretty great. So the goal here is then Bard is um, use that for real time information. So what do you use the difference between Bard and Chat GPT for? Like how do you differentiate you going to Chat because you have the paid
Yeah.
version of Chat GPT and you have access to Bard. What do you use as a differentiator of where you go here versus there?
Yeah. Well, ChatGPT now, I mean, it really can tap into I mean, they have a lot more access because of their partnership with Microsoft and stuff. Um, so they're going to have a lot more access to data and stuff like that, or the internet, just in general. Previously, like when they first came out, that was not necessarily the case, or they had stuff, but it was kind of dated. So that the Google's like was really leaning towards more real time current events, like what's happening right now, just to make sure that it was like up to date. And that's where the kind of like the newsletter, you know, example came from, where it's timely, relevant, most current stuff. Um, the where I tend to fall into ChatGPT is more systems, processes, like ongoing, reoccurring type things. Um, so one of the like GPTs that I just made recently was just for creating ad copy. And it's, a tool that's like predefined, it's uploaded, it has examples of, dozens and dozens of effective real estate ads, but it also has access to Facebook and Instagram ad library, so it
And
can
what tool
actually
is that?
search up in. So this is a GPT inside ChatGPT that I made myself.
Got it.
So I like programmed it to say, hey, these are examples of effective ads. Also, at the same time, you have access to the ad library to see what's out there to pull inspiration from, type of deal.
That's very cool.
So that is so that's kind of that's an example of like something that I would use, because I can give that tool to anybody, customers, clients, team members, and say, hey, use this to help cut down on creative process.
That's actually a pretty cool tool. And what's interesting with that is we were talking about how people can use this at any level of where they're at, beginners, medium, advanced. And what you're doing is you're using the API and you're actually creating tools that are API that are powered by um, artificial intelligence to allow people to do things. So they don't have to know what you know. They just have to go and use your tool.
Yep. Yeah. And
You know,
there
you said something about creating descriptions and various different tools. I know Jim Edwards, he creates, he's a copywriting expert. And so he's created a lot of different tools within his membership program that you go in and you create an avatar, and then you go to one of what he calls a genie, which
mhm,
is he's just taking all the functionality of how to create copy, and it creates you like all this copy for
right,
a description for the MLS, a description for your flyer.
right,
It's a script for a 30-second video. Um, People can, just like you, people can go and do that themselves if they know the prompts, or they can go and dial into a tool like you, how you can just, if you're focusing on lead generation, go just use your tool. Don't try to recreate everything.
I love that. The genie framework, where it's like, here's the top things that I do for every new listing, like, whether it's a video, a 30-second video, listing description, a newsletter, summary type of a deal. Um, Perfect example of a good way to use it.
Yeah. Well, with that, we are at 23 minutes. So we didn't even scratch the surface of what I thought we were going to be talking about. Well, we did scratch the surface. We talked about the various different portals. We talked about Chat GPT. We talked about Bard. We talked about Bing a little bit. The interesting thing is, um, just like every other tool, these are not 100% identical, and they have different ways to use them. But I would suggest that people need to get out and start familiarizing themselves, probably with at least Chat GPT. Start going out and just start utilizing that, because to your point, your job's not going to be replaced by AI. It's going to, you know what, dude, we're cyborgs. We're cyborgs.
We are.
It's going to be replaced by someone who's using Chat GPT in the same line of work that you're using. And for us, that's real estate, that's mortgages. People are using that for lead generation. They're definitely using it for creating content. The biggest weakness that I see, that from a professional standpoint, is agents are not creating, and mortgage professionals, they're not creating enough content, video content, written content, newsletters. Um, and this will help them do that, but they got to
Right.
figure out how to do it.
Amen.
All right. So without further ado, that's it for episode 45. Any parting words, Luke?
Let's get it.
All right, man. Stick around and we'll see you guys next week.
Rock and roll.